Not everyone is meant to enter this mental society. This is a carefully selected community. Only the chosen ones can join. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my society. Our new citizen of my society is a man I believe to be the greatest sociological thinker in the world. True, he occasionally suffered mental breakdowns, but when he was in a good state of mind, he was capable of producing his most remarkable works. He is a dignified and well-dressed man from a bourgeois, educated and cultured family. He saw the world from a new angle and his lens was unique, crafted solely for himself. I always dreamed of meeting him at the University of Heidelberg because as a young woman passionate about sociology, I've always loved that university. Perhaps I've carried the dream of studying there for years. For any sociologist, studying at a university where the father of modern sociology once taught feels like living in a space filled with mystery. Professor, I can't tell you how happy I am to have you here with me.
I'm happy to be sitting here with you as well. I've always enjoyed conversations with women who are not confined to traditional roles, who don't only concern themselves with housework, and who possess independence and intellectual strength.
That's probably why you finished your first engagement and married Marianne instead, right?
Yes. My father was not in favor of my first marriage, and I ended it. Though truthfully, we weren't intellectually or personally compatible.
I invited you to my society so that I could always enjoy the company of you and Marianne. I know well that you two weren't a romantic couple, but I've always admired the intellectual partnership and mutual respect you shared.
Marianne used to say our marriage was like an intellectual friendship built on mutual understanding. It may not have been romantic, but it was deep and meaningful. And she was right.
All right, let's get to make your house. Since you and Marianne never had children, I imagine a small, cozy home would be fitting, wouldn't it?
I agree. Jenny and I both came from affluent families and never lacked anything. A small, comfortable home where we can continue our philosophical reflections is enough for us.
About Marianne, I admire how she flourished beside you and became one of the first women to raise her voice for those whose words were often ignored. As you, what a fabulous man you were to support her on that path. I've always respected your unique worldview, especially in this case.
Yes, I always wanted my partner to be someone thoughtful. My mother was a conscious woman, but unfortunately didn't have a good relationship with my father. He was a political man, and our house was always a gathering place for intellectuals and political elites. It wasn't a suitable place for my deeply religious mother. On the other hand, I admired the relationship between my aunt and Uncle Mora. She was also religious, but didn't impose her beliefs, and had a thoughtful relationship with her husband. During a short stay with them, I realized I wanted a relationship like that. That's why my first engagement failed.
So you were sapiosexual. For those who don't know, this word refers to people who are attracted to intelligence. It's not a big deal, guys, just a fancy word.
So the new generation has coined a term for it. Yeah, you could say we both were. Even when I went through mental breakdowns and had to be hospitalized, Marianne stayed by my side. Even though we didn't have a sexual relationship.
Yes, I know that may even be one of the reasons why you didn't have children, because there wasn't much intimacy between you. But anyway, that's none of my business, though I always wondered if Marianne ever regretted not becoming a mother. But maybe that's precisely what allowed her to become such a successful thinker, not only editing your works, but also achieving a level of thought that was unheard of for a woman in a time when they couldn't even attend university.
My dear Marianne, yes, one of my concerns later in life came from conversations I had with her. At first, I believed rationality would save the world. She, however, believed in the power of the spirit and justice. We were both parts of the truth. Over time, I came to understand that, like Marianne, I too feared disenchantment. I believed that modern life, while rational, was void of value and soul.
I understand, Professor. I'm sorry to say this, but in our Iranian society, we haven't even moved past materialism. If you want to be taken seriously, you have to strike a pose of empiricism. Personally, I don't care what people think. I prefer interpretive perspectives over anything else. That's the lens I want to wear when I look at the world.
So the debate continues. I used to have this same discussion with Marx.
Oh, yes, I know. It felt like you were conversing with his ghost. Guys, if you haven't seen the Marx episode yet, go check it out. I found it fascinating that you analyzed capitalism through the lens of religion.
Yes. One thing Marx never paid attention to was culture. Culture matters greatly. What was your name again?
Avon.
Yes, Avon. Culture, and especially the influence of religion on our worldview, should not be overlooked. I studied how certain worldviews are shaped specifically by Calvinist belief systems. I won't bore you with religious details, just briefly. In Catholic belief, humans are sinful, and that's why we're in this world. But in a Calvinist sect, there's a clause for redemption, and that is through production, accumulation of wealth, and reinvest. They believe that through creating a cycle of production, we can reduce human sin. I called it the spirit of capitalism because the whole cycle was born from such religious beliefs.
I completely agree. That's why you're my intellectual mentor. I'm sorry I haven't yet had the chance to read Marianne's original book about your life. I wanted to translate it into Persian, but then I saw it's 700 pages. And that's without being romantically in love. Imagine how much she would have written if she had been.
Yes, Marianne was never afraid to voice her thoughts. I admired her for her courage and actually wanted her to express her opinions.
Well, I think that kind of confidence may have partly come from knowing someone was there to listen. Someone who admired her for what she had to say. That gives you great courage, actually.
I agree with you. We both grew up in families where important political and intellectual figures of the time frequently visited. Our fathers were close friends.
Could you explain a bit about Thorstein and the ideal type theory?
Sure, I believe that to truly understand a concept, you must be able to put yourself in another person's shoes, have empathy. Without empathy, you can't grasp anything meaningfully, so that's Thorstein. As for the ideal type, I believe that to study a phenomenon, one can create an idealized version of it and then compare the real concept to that model.
That's why your ideas has such a major impact on social science methodology. I won't get into the core of your theories here, as they might only interest academic audiences. People don't always care about classifications of authority or action types. The drama is always more appealing to us. Why were you hospitalized?
The reasons for my breakdowns were never really known. Sometimes it just happened. Without warning, I just couldn't think or even teach anymore.
Sometimes I think even in that, you were lucky. You had a university position you could return to when you got better. Marx, for example, never had that privilege, sir. Money is the most unjust form of power. My heart aches when I think about how instead of discovering, enjoying, and living life, we're forced to spend it all working. And for what? Maybe I should take Khayyam's advice.
Who's Khayyam?
An Iranian philosopher and poet. Don't worry, you'll find him near the Car's house, here in my society. I've invited him before. Professor, I think your house is ready now. Have a look.
Thank you, my dear. I can now have long conversations with Marianne again.
Professor Weber, you're one of the luckiest people in this world I know. Perhaps you had one of the most stable lives of any thinker I've read about. Unfortunately, you're not very well known among people outside sociology. Maybe because your idea didn't serve the political left the way Marx did. But I want to say this, your ideas are crucial for the collective awareness of humanity. Welcome to my society. Our work together is just beginning. Hey guys, thanks for watching me till now. If you want to know who is our next resident, don't forget to subscribe. And also write your comments below and let me know what you think about the Mind Society. See you in the next video.